these disgusting
Worker.
deviants.
Right? They start catcalling her.
catcalling.
It's like disgusting. Like, mamacita.
Ew, it was so
I want to
gross.
hug you. Like, what are you doing? And then the mom looks at her from the inside. Is like, just just boys being boys.
Hi, I'm Caitlin,
And I'm Charlie.
and welcome to Outsmarting the Shadows, where we help you
Survive
horror movies.
We have a special guest today,
We have a special guest today who may or may not join us throughout the entire podcast.
which is Marbles here.
This is Marbles.
Milo hates Marbles because she steals all of his pets.
Yes. And Marbles, she just likes to bite and scratch and
With really sharp, tiny nails.
right? She's very
And she has more than usual.
right. She has 7 toes on all of her feet.
Yes.
And she's
And they
she's,
all scratch.
yeah, she's aggressively passionate about pets. So we'll see where she goes. We're just going to she's a cat, so we're going to let her do whatever she wants.
Meanwhile, Milo here is just going to be here. Okay, now let's give you a little. There we go.
We finally got to the movie we've been talking about for
Yes.
several days, but I
Yeah.
guess it's been a week since we've seen you guys.
Yeah. Well, almost a little less than a week.
A little less than a week, because now we're on our regularly scheduled program of having a podcast once a week
Once a week. Until next October.
until next October.
Which will be one day.
And if this is the first time you're ever joining us, we did an entire month-long movie marathon where every day we were reviewing and surviving one horror movie a day in the month of October leading up to Halloween.
Yes. And we finished Halloween with Halloween.
Yes, we did.
Which I found a little boring.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a mistake.
Yeah.
You need to go watch that podcast, but we talk about why we didn't love Halloween.
I mean, we should do a Halloween every year. Next year, Halloween 2 on Halloween.
Oh, that
The
would be
year
kind of
after
cool.
that, Halloween 3.
Yeah.
It's going to take us, what, like 15 years to do all of them?
I mean, I have a feeling that at some point I'm gonna say no, and I'm just gonna want to watch the next one, because at some point it's gonna get really interesting.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait. I'm not waiting that long to watch the most recent Halloween.
Well, no, it's going to be, what, 6, 7 years from now? I think we can wait it out. What do you guys think?
Ow.
Leave us a comment.
I just got bit by the cat.
Yeah, Marbles.
Marbles is so aggressively passionate. Listen,
You used to have these little
plastic things.
plastic things that you put on her paws, and she won't scratch you, but then they fall over time.
They
so
fall
all
off,
fell.
so I have to put new ones on her, and we have to distract her quite a bit to put them on. And she's not a kitten anymore, so she doesn't take any guff.
But today,
Yes. So today we have reviewed and watched the amazing 1982 Poltergeist, directed
yes.
by Steven Spielberg.
And written by Steven Spielberg.
Yes. What an amazing movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
I'm-
And this one, it's a pretty good movie, and it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. So we have some fun facts before spoiler warnings.
Not only nostalgia goggles, but watching it again, it's pretty good. You know, it has
Yeah.
its scary moments. So it's pretty nice.
It does have some scary moments. I wouldn't call it scary compared to a horror movie today.
Yeah, not compared to today, but
He does not like that. I don't know if you just heard Milo growl at Marbles a little.
yeah, it's like, get away from me.
It's like, get away from me.
But yes, this one is not scary like today's movie standards, but it's scarier than Halloween, in my opinion.
It is much scarier
It
than
has
Halloween.
it has a clown.
Oh my God, that clown, that was actually the creepiest thing for me.
Yeah,
was
the
that
clown is the
But
creepiest thing.
Before we go into the movie itself, we have to go into some interesting, I've called them fun facts before, but they're not fun.
No, this movie has some behind the scene trivia.
Yeah, they're awful facts.
Yeah,
they're
they are.
terrible facts. So, oh my God. So, this movie had some amazing actors, and we're going to go through what happened on set of Poltergeist first. So, one of the actors' names is Jo Beth Williams. And you've probably seen her in everything. Like, when you see her face, you're like, oh, I know her. If you're a child of the 80s,
Yeah.
she was like your mom.
That's The Medium?
No, that was the mother.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she played the mother in this. So there's a scene in this movie, no spoiler warnings here, but there's a scene in this movie where she's surrounded by dead people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
she made a claim in an interview.
She wasn't told, right? Anyway, what was the claim?
She made a claim in an interview that Steven Spielberg used real
bodies.
cadavers, real dead people to shoot a lot of these scenes because at the time, supposedly they were cheaper than plastic skeletons. And when you watch it, like before I ever knew this fact, we were watching this movie. And at the time I was like, those look really real.
They look really good.
They look really good.
The 80s were on point with
right?
their VFX.
And I was like, how is that possible?
Or the practical effects.
Yeah. When honestly, everything else in this movie, practical and supernatural, like the VFX are not, I mean, they're 80s.
Yeah.
So they're not great. So I was like, I think those might be real.
Yeah. Like, they look pretty good.
They look pretty good. So we found out that that was what she claimed, that it's true. And it's never been disproven.
Yeah, nobody says no.
Nobody says
true.
yes, but nobody says no.
Right? I would be one to say no, we did not do that. She is lying.
Right? I mean, if I was Steven Spielberg, I would not want that reputation.
Right.
But at the same time...
But at the same time, like, you're Steven Spielberg. You can do what you want.
Were you Steven Spielberg in the 80s?
I mean, Steven Spielberg was Steven Spielberg in the 80s.
No, but you know what I mean. Did he have that reputation in the 80s?
Yeah, he already had a reputation when he started that movie.
Okay. So the other facts that we have is from Poltergeist 2.
Mm-hmm.
There was a character named Taylor who played a Native American medicine man. And in that movie, he actually, at the end of shooting, performed a real exorcism on the entire set.
Why?
And it disturbed all of the cast.
Really?
Because everybody was just so freaked out, I guess, that he was like, I'm going to do this. And he didn't really tell anybody beforehand.
Okay.
Marbles. Come on,
Marbles. Just let her be. Let Milo deal with it.
Okay. So, the next fact that I have is these are actually really sad.
Mm-hmm.
So, in Poltergeist in 1982, there was a really cute little girl named Heather O'Rourke. She plays Carol Ann.
Yeah. That was well. I was like, I wonder if I've seen this character in anything, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it turns out the character died in 1988.
Yes. So the actress died at the age of 12.
12 years old.
I mean, so tragic. She was misdiagnosed a bunch of times.
Really?
For a bunch of different things. Mm-hmm. And in the end, it killed her. Like, she just had cardiac arrest. She had to have surgeries.
Wow.
It was terrible.
So she basically acted in. I saw that she acted in a couple of shows, TV shows, and then she did Poltergeist 1, Poltergeist 2, Poltergeist 3, and it's done.
And that was it. That was her
Poltergeist
entire life.
3 came out after she had passed in theaters, which is wild.
Which is really sad. And then there's another character who also plays her sister, an older girl named Dominique Dunn.
But she was murdered.
Right. She was
by
murdered.
her ex-boyfriend.
So this movie came out in 1982. She was murdered in 1983.
Jesus. So she's not in the second one, I'm guessing.
No. I mean, she had died. Well, I don't
have
think
to watch
so,
it to see how they write her
the
off.
The second one does come out in 1983, but I mean,
it could have been recorded before.
It could have been somewhat recorded, but I don't know. And then there were a couple of other tragedies. So there was a character named Julian Beck, who played a priest in the second one. He had already been diagnosed with lung cancer. Okay. Or not lung cancer, it was stomach cancer. And he died.
During shooting?
Not during shooting, but right after.
Okay.
And then...
Jesus, Poltergeist, kind of like a lot of people just die.
I know. On this. And then Will Sampson, the character who played Taylor, the Native American shaman, he died of a heart... He had a heart and lung transplant. Right... I think it was during shooting. I don't know exactly the timeline, and he died from that. So there was just a lot of death surrounding this franchise.
The Poltergeist. Wow.
Yeah.
I would have known.
So let's get into some spoiler warnings.
Yes. Spoilers.
If you haven't seen this movie, we both highly recommend this, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I really enjoyed it. You know,
Yes.
It has really cool VFX.
And if you don't like horror movies, I think that this is a good one to explore. But like you want to get into it. Generally, I think good horror movies from the 80s are good because you're going to be a bit desensitized just from regular television and movies.
And this one, it has some gore where you looked away at a couple of scenes.
But only with that doll.
With the doll and when the guy was ripping off his face.
I didn't really look away because of the practical effects of him ripping off his face.
Yeah.
Because what I looked away at was they used, you could tell, bits of raw chicken.
Yeah.
In this movie to simulate this character taking off his face. And I find raw chicken to be disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't care the context. Honestly, it wasn't the situation. It was that it was just raw chicken.
Pieces.
I was like, ooh,
Just
raw chicken.
Falling on them.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's so unsanitary.
Right.
And then I kept thinking about him taking raw chicken and like touching his face with it, and I just couldn't.
That's not how that's shot.
Yeah, but I don't know.
That was just one shot on a sink. Somebody's probably just throwing raw chicken. It's not even the actor. I guarantee it's not even the actor.
It was filmed 10 days later.
Right, or earlier. You know, and somebody, okay, just throw it here. Okay, now the water, keep throwing raw chicken. It had nothing to do with how it's shot. You think like, he's, yeah, good filming.
My favorite scene, outside of the story, because the story was amazing.
We already said if it's spoiler, you watched it.
Yeah, you've already watched it. So my favorite scene outside of the actual story was they took a piece of raw meat and they had it move like a slug across the counter. And I loved that scene. I honestly kept imagining turning that animation into a creature.
Right.
Because I just thought it was really cool.
This scene, the wildest thing for me in this scene is like, there's this stranger, because he's a stranger. He's just staying at this house.
He's just like a tech guy.
Yeah, a tech guy. And he just suddenly goes, I'm hungry. I'm going to go get something to eat. And
in a stranger's kitchen.
And you think, okay, he's going
into
his car.
Chips.
He's going to go to 7-Eleven. He's going to, go buy something. But no, he starts, looking in the kitchen. And then he opens the refrigerator. And then he pulls out a steak. Like, these people, they just have plates with steaks in the refrigerator?
Well, that was a thing. In the 80s and 90s, there wasn't like Tupperware.
So you open your fridge and there's just a steak just standing there. First of all, that's gross. That's nasty. Just a steak sweating everywhere. It wasn't even in the freezer.
It wasn't even on a plate already.
On a plate, on nothing. It was just, so he picks up this plate and then this steak, and then this animal, because you just have to be an animal. He doesn't pick up a plate. He picks nothing. He just slops it on the counter with nothing. Right? He has no plates. He has no paper towel. He has nothing.
In the context, this is a 1980s brand new home with tile countertop.
Right? And children.
Now, listen, if you have tile countertop, I have a lot of respect for you because you must clean that dang thing all the time.
Not only
but
tile.
the grout.
Not only tile, it was subway tile.
Oh, yeah.
Subway tile countertop with black grout. White subway tile with black grout. Black grout, you're not going to even see the disgustingness.
It was not okay.
And then you just slop a steak, a T-bone steak, it looked like.
Just on the counter.
On the counter,
right there. He got himself a little frying
pan.
And he's just like, I'm going to make myself
before that, he picked up
steak.
something and he put it in his mouth and started eating right from the refrigerator, which ended up to be a chicken, drumstick. So these people, I would have loved to see the inside of this refrigerator.
The inside of their fridge,
because they opened up and he had at arm's reach a cooked
chicken leg.
Drumstick, and next to that a raw steak.
Yeah.
Uncovered, just like that.
Just on the tray.
Just on a tray, one next to the other. That's nasty.
Not okay.
No, it's not okay at all.
But I would say, I gotta say, that's really the only part of this movie where it was like logistically, I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right?
There was almost nothing in this movie that I was like, well, that makes no sense.
Right? We can suspend the disbelief with the spirits,
right?
Coming out of the ceiling.
Spirits are there.
Spirits walking around, the monsters, the thing.
The giant Muppet spirit creature we got.
A cooked drumstick uncovered right next to a raw steak in the refrigerator.
That's too much.
Not in the freezer.
Yeah.
But in the refrigerator, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Makes no
Why
sense.
would you have a raw T-bone just standing there and then you just slap it on a counter?
On a countertop,
that's
right?
unsanitary.
And then first of all, okay, taking that out of the way that you're doing all this stuff, that's disrespectful as heck.
Right? You don't live there. You don't know. What if that steak was
right?
for their
Everybody's
dinner?
sleeping and you just grab a steak, you're going to cook a steak? What the hell?
It's not your steak. Are you going to go buy them another steak?
Did he clean it after? Because, the steak then starts walking and then the steak starts kind of like imploding or like
it starts to
vomited
kind of
meat.
Explode into something else, the steak, which was actually a really cool scene.
And then the chicken drumstick, when he threw it on the floor, was filled with maggots.
And one would assume that he was so scared that he just left everything there, which is unsanitary. You know who cleaned that up?
The mom?
The mom.
Yeah, probably.
The mom was, now she's like, God dang it, now I've got gross raw meat everywhere.
Right. I mean, props to this movie. This movie had no naked ladies in it.
Yes, it was great.
But it still had the hint of pedophilia.
Oh my God, it was so gratuitous and disgusting. So the daughter, who is 16 years old,
in the movie, I mean, she's
school.
played by an older actress. But in the movie, she is
16.
It's a 16-year-old character.
And there are construction workers outside. So she gets ready to go to school. She gets ready to get on her bicycle. She's wearing a school uniform, basically.
With a skirt that it's almost up to her ankles. A really long skirt.
A really long skirt.
Not sexified at all.
At all.
With a long sleeve shirt buttoned all the way up. It's just a normal... A girl going to school.
Yeah. Child.
A child, yeah. A child going to school.
These disgusting
workers,
deviants.
Right? They start catcalling her.
Catcalling.
It's like disgusting. Like, mamacita.
It was so
I want to
gross.
hug you. Like, what are you doing? And then the mom looks at her from the inside. Is like, just boys being boys. Like,
boys being boy was like a big thing.
Yeah, it was. That scene was wild. It's like that scene did not age.
No.
Accordingly.
No, it didn't. I don't even know how it would age then. Like, how is it that you know what the thing is? Audiences then were probably creeped out, but like society didn't accept that your creep out was okay.
That you creep out of old men.
Ugh.
Just slathering
ogling
over
a 16-year-old child.
16-year-old child that is going to school.
Yes. Like, what?
That was like, that did not age well. That scene did not age well.
No. But literally everything else in the movie was fantastic.
That, it didn't have any random boobs for no reason.
No.
And they eliminated they didn't follow a lot of the tropes.
That's true. So this movie was fantastic because...
First of all, nobody dies.
Well, right. But it was
movie.
really difficult to come up with survival techniques because... everybody does so many things well.
Right.
Right from so the husband and wife have a wonderful, cute relationship. They're really fun with each other.
And they smoke.
They smoke.
They drink.
They drink.
Right. They have sex.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And like.
But they don't die.
But they don't die because.
Yeah.
They're married.
And at one point, I'm not sure he says, "I'll be right back" when he takes the kid.
He does.
Yeah. And they don't die.
They don't die.
Right?
I mean, I think, so Halloween, I wonder if it really started this because this was 1982. Halloween was in 1987. And I wonder if the 80s...
87 or 70 something?
1987.
Okay. No, Halloween? Halloween was before that.
1979? Maybe it was 19... Now I have to check, everybody.
Yeah.
Because, like... I was thinking this whole time, well, Halloween hadn't come out.
Just go to our YouTube and look at the title.
Right?
Because I always put the title and the year of the movie.
1978.
1978.
Yeah,
not 87,
okay.
78.
So this was 82, and that was 78. So they really didn't follow any tropes.
Yeah, that was what, 4 years after.
Yeah, it was 4 years after. Well, maybe it was because Steven Spielberg is just so good at his job.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, I find that if you go against...
So you're saying Steven Spielberg is better than John Carpenter?
So I would say in a storytelling, yes. Yeah. I think Steven Spielberg is a better storyteller.
I think that's not a hot take. That is yes, it is.
Yeah, but I think John Carpenter is very good at creating tension and fear.
And horror.
But I think Steven Spielberg is just a better overall storyteller. His characters are more complex, because they have to
better
be.
Developed and a lot better dialogue and writing.
Yes.
Script.
Everybody in this movie, so right from the get-go, when they start to experience some weird things.
So, we have to get into survival tips.
Yes.
So, my question is, the 7-minute rule doesn't really apply.
I disagree.
Because if you use the 7-minute rule, you're leaving your daughter to die.
No, I disagree with that. Here's why. Their bedrooms were so close together. Their bedroom was just on the other side. Like, it was just one door over. And these are very young children. It's not like the 16-year. Like, if you have children that are, like, 7, 8 years old, they're not going to answer a phone in the middle of the night. Like, I don't think you should... Okay, so...
And there's no smartphones here either.
Right, there's no smartphones. It's in the 80s. The 7-minute rule only applies to modern-day society where you have smartphones and everybody in the household are older. Like, I would say... Also, if the 7-minute rule, it should be modified for the distance, too. Remember, you should be checking on the way out the door. You're also, like, if you can just open a door, you can do that. Okay. I'm saying, don't go across a 1-acre field to find Janet. All right? Janet is an adult.
Right.
Who decided to go investigate something in the middle of the night for no reason.
So you think they should have just left when the kid said they're here? A famous quote, that line that kid delivered was a really famous quote, and I think it's one of the 69, and there was a poll of the most famous quotes in movies, and that one is it made the list.
So I wouldn't have known to leave that, but I do.
But she asked.
But I would know my daughter, and I would ask the next morning.
Yeah.
And remember, it was so interesting. It was such a chaotic, beautiful scene because it was just a normal breakfast. Like, he's trying to leave, she's trying to get her kids to eat. They're feeding the dog waffles. The dog lives, by the way.
Everybody lives.
Everybody lives.
Nobody dies.
Such a cute golden retriever.
Right?
I love that. Okay.
But for some reason, you're like, that's not how that dog barks.
Yeah, it was not a normal golden retriever bark.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
But I love that the golden retriever, like classic golden retrievers, brought a toy to the portal in their bedroom.
Right? It was like, here you go.
I have a toy.
You want to play?
Right? So after, so in that morning, the mom tries to ask Carol Ann, what did you mean that they're here? Now, after that same day, the chairs start to move.
Right. So first of all, the chairs kind of like...
First, they were separate. They were what is it?
They were pulled out from the dining room table.
And then
she just puts them together.
Puts them back.
And she goes to do something. And when she looks up,
they're stacked.
There's like a Jenga tower with dining room chairs.
That is exactly when the rule starts to come into
play.
Right there.
And then she asks the kid, are these the
TV people?
The TV people.
And she said yes. And I was like, oh,
and she's
okay.
Like, can you see them? No.
Can you see them?
Can you see them? And she's like, no. But then she starts to investigate it.
Right. It's like this is the most fun she's ever had.
Right.
And so we know from horror movies, because we're familiar with horror movies, you and I, right? You and I.
Yes. Viewer,
listener. Like, we know that this would be an indication of everyone could die.
Right.
But it's understandable that in the 80s...
Yeah, this is fun.
This is a nice soccer mom. She doesn't know.
Yeah,
so I sort of understand, but this is when the 7-minute rule should come into play. She grabs Carol Ann, and that's when she's like, listen, I'm not going back in the house.
Right. And then when the dad comes, the dad is freaked out.
Yes.
Because she even has... She has little markings, and she even sits in the little...
And she describes how it feels.
Yeah, when they pull you, and she puts the kid and the chair, and he's like, "What the hell is happening?"
Right? He's just shocked, And I love his reaction. It's very real. Right. It's very real.
When he goes, nobody goes in the kitchen until I understand what it is.
He's like, no. Yeah, which makes sense. Like they do pretty much do everything right.
Yeah. And then they even go to ask the neighbor.
Yeah,
the neighbor's kind of an asshole.
The neighbor is an asshole, but I loved. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that scene. In fact, I could watch that scene over and over again when they were going, because it's this cute couple who's like, how would we go to our next door neighbor and be like,
which they fight with all the time because of the TV.
I love, by the way, if you want to see what the 80s was like, watch the scene where this family's trying to watch a football game, and their neighbor just turns the remote and their TV switches.
Right, that was wild.
That was wild.
You could actually do that with random remotes.
Right.
Just go around and shutting off and, changing people's TVs.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I think that scene was beautifully done. How they were like so awkward to like, how do we ask this?
Right. Like strange stuff, like things moving around
on their own.
The guy's like, what?
What?
Which that guy isn't. He's a comedian. He was really young. I forget his name in this movie.
I didn't recognize him, so I don't know. So I love that those neighbors later in the movie, like they're like, "What's going on?" when there are bodies popping up out of the ground.
Right, and he's like, "Help me!" And he's like, "What?"
And he just abandons them.
That's right, he does nothing.
He does nothing useful.
Which at that point, her mom, the mom, main character, like one of the main characters, she decides to follow a rule. She got upset.
And
anger trumps fear 100% of the time.
Her character the entire time was like spot on.
Yeah. She only got afraid when that, which was a really cool animatronic dog creature, was in front of the door.
The big Muppet.
Yeah, big Muppet.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like for its time, that was brilliantly done. How they changed the lighting of it, they made it glowy.
That's the time that she got afraid.
Yeah, she got afraid
because she wasn't even afraid to go, into the void.
Right.
At one point where the media is like, no, I gotta go, and she goes, no, I gotta go because I'm the mom. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
He's like, but you've never done that. And then she goes, you haven't either. Like the media goes, you're right. You should go.
Right, the median who they brought. So fun fact about this actress. So she actually had a very lucrative career as a lab technician for many, many years. And when she was 45 years old, she had been wanting to be an actress her whole life. And she decided to quit her job and pursue acting full time.
Wow.
And she did.
She made it.
She made it.
Wow, that's really cool.
And she represented little people for many years.
Which at the time, they were called something different.
Right. But she was 4'3", that actress. Really? She was very short.
At one point, I thought, are they using VFX and camera tricks to film her so she looks so small? No, she was just really short.
She was just very short, but she was really lovely in this movie.
It was a great character.
Yeah, I think she shows up in Poltergeist 2 as well.
I think. We will have to watch that one.
We'll have to watch that one. So this movie, something that I will say on survival, they made a mistake at the very end. Once she says the house is clear, they have Carol Ann with them.
Yeah, this house is clean.
Right. And she has this really cool streak in her hair, the mom now.
Yeah, gray streaks.
Yeah, so they have a hotel room they were going to go to. I don't know why she put her children to bed in this house.
Because they were waiting on the dad.
Why didn't they all just go to the hotel room?
That's what he was saying. That she said, no, we'll wait on you.
Well, that was a poor decision.
Yes, it was.
That was an extremely poor decision. If anything has happened supernatural, especially where your child has been kidnapped by spirits of the undead in your home, just don't sleep there again once you have her back.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Maybe you just don't. Right? Especially don't put them in the same room with the same portal closet. Right
in
there.
The same exact room.
What are you talking
Where the room is barren because they've already packed everything up. They're leaving. I would still be sleeping downstairs in the living room where nobody can touch you.
Where the portal exits.
Right.
Not where the portal enters.
So this lady,
the mom,
she went into that room, she tied a rope around her waist and went into the void.
Into the
abyss, the unknown, whatever it is, where a headless creature, demon, came out of it and almost chomped her husband, right? So she does that, and then after she comes back, she decides, oh, that looks good. They can sleep in that room.
Yeah, it's probably fine. She said it was clean.
Yeah, she says this house is clean, so it's fine.
So it's fine.
We can sleep in the same room.
Yeah.
But then the room turns into a void again. Not only into a void, into like a mouth that is gonna eat them and swallow them whole. That was a really cool effect.
Yeah, that was really awesome. That portal that they did at the very end, I think that's where all of their budget went.
Into that portal.
Into that portal.
And the little tongue that came up and grabbed them.
That's why they didn't have any money for fake bodies.
Yeah.
So I think everybody behaved really well in this movie. I love that they immediately went to the university to try and get paranormal help, like paranormal psychologists to come and help and record everything. However, I don't really understand why they were there. To just record it? Because if I wanted
to study it.
But if I wanted my daughter back, I would have immediately gone to the medium lady, not...
Yeah, but, for some reason, they didn't believe the mediums. I guess it's at the time, like Ghostbusters, they were university professors. This is a time in the United States where academia is not actively hated by the masses, like it is today.
Oh, that was nice.
This is a different time.
Different times.
Yeah.
Being smart was good.
Yeah. And people, the people that know are the people that, have studied and dedicated their whole lives to this specific genre. Basically, she's like, even though I am a psychologist, I'm basically, following this fringe thing, which is quackery.
Yeah, it's true. And I love that she was such a moral support to the mother in this movie. That character, I hope she appears in Poltergeist too. I don't remember if she does or not.
Yeah, I don't know. What I like is when they get there, the school people, the guy's like, yeah, at one time I've watched it. There was this little toy car that moved 7 inches, and it took over the course of 7 hours. But I got it. See, you can't see it with the naked eye, but fast forwarding in this camera, you could see it moving. And then the dad is like, okay.
He's so disinterested.
Yeah, like,
sure.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And then he opens the door, and just this wildest scene is happening.
Things are flying around the room.
Little toys that have come to life. There's this light that kind of like goes into the light fixture, light bulb, and then turns on. And then nobody sees the clown.
Yeah.
The clown is on the bed riding it like a horse and going like, yeah! It's like the most disgusting, nightmare-fueled toy.
Yeah.
Because it's a toy.
It's a clown
you can ever
toy.
imagine.
Why would you ever get that for your children? That's terrifying.
And not only that, after that scene, they give the clown to the kid. Like, yeah, this is your toy. Like, first of all, whose toy is it? It's not the kid's toy. He hates that clown. Is it the little girl's toy?
See, I think that kids are kind of contradictory. I think that they want things, they ask for them, and then they sort of sit with it, and they're like, there's something wrong here.
Right.
And I think he probably begged to get that toy.
To get that clown?
Yeah.
That nasty looking, disgusting clown with those beady hands that were kind of like really thin.
Yeah. Well, let's go into survival. Okay, so number one, you're supposed to avoid clowns in horror movies, so you shouldn't get that for your kids.
Yes.
Number
Just
two.
don't get a toy that looks like a creepy clown.
Yeah. If your closet has become a portal, I would put a lock on that closet and don't open it anymore. At the very least.
Yeah, but it didn't have any doors.
The closet had a door. There was a closet door.
Oh yeah, but they couldn't go into the room.
They did once everything was clean, and then
once
she left
clean.
it ajar.
No, it was closed.
No, she left it open.
It was open?
I remember she left it partly open.
But then when the creature when it's turning into a mouth, you see that the door is closed and you got those tendrils coming out of it.
Yeah, then the door is gone. But at the very least, if you're going to disobey all of the rules of rational thought, just close the door at least.
I guess. I think this lady is okay if grown men ogle at her 16-year-old daughter,
Right. I mean, I actually think she was a great mother. I think she was really trying her best.
Oh, and another part. Then, which for me was wild, I was like, wow, the 80s were wild. one of the workers, right? She's drinking a coffee and she goes out of the scene.
She goes out of the room.
One of the workers comes through the window, just drinks her coffee, eats her chips, and then she's cooking what looks to be pasta. He takes the spoon, he slurps all over it, and then he puts it back into the pot.
Right?
Like, what the hell?
And she's like, oh, buddy.
Oh, buddy, you're so
cheeky.
Right? And it's like, first of all, that's gross, right? This is pre-pandemic.
Cheeky behavior used to be okay.
Yeah.
Now, cheeky behavior. So, can you imagine if we brought even friends in to like help us, and you're cooking, and they just reach in through the window and like grab a pot and start eating out of it,
and then put it back, like all slobbered.
Come on, man.
You just don't do that.
You just don't do that.
Yeah.
So, I think that a lot could have been done to survive in this movie. So the first one being, if you see anything that happens, like chairs are stacking onto itself, I love that she investigated. I thought that was cool, but that wouldn't be the best survival tact. I would say
especially at this point, she told him that none of the children know, only she and the little girl.
Yeah.
And now him.
Yeah, I mean, I would take the child, take everybody to the Holiday Inn where they were staying before, call the husband and say, we're all staying at the Holiday Inn, we're all as a family going to come and I'm going to show you something, but it's really creeping me out, and or I think it's awesome, but we're going to investigate it together. Whatever her emotions are about that, I would remove my children from that situation. Because it's just forces that human beings are don't have research or understanding of. If you have kids, I wouldn't investigate like that. Now, if you don't have kids, I would be super curious about that.
Yeah. So, at this point, they're investigating. They all go to sleep, and the night it happens that there's a storm coming for some reason. It looks like there's no storm protection. You just live it out, But, okay. Where and what state are they in? I don't think they ever say.
I assume California, but I have no idea.
So, the kid is afraid of this tree. This tree reaches into the room,
right?
Which everybody kind of like, after everything that's happening, they shrugged it off. He reaches into the room
with tree
hands. He grabs the kid slowly, and then he starts swallowing the kid.
Yes, starts to eat him.
And that was, I guess that's fine. It's
a tornado.
It's never mentioned. It's never talked about.
So I can sort of understand this from a psychological standpoint. Because there was a tornado, I think that once that scene had passed, they all assumed that what they saw wasn't what they saw.
That it was part of the tornado?
Sort of. I mean, I think that they convinced themselves, but obviously in survival...
It grabbed you and it was swallowing you. And he said it. It's eating me.
Yeah, he did. He screamed that.
That is not something you forget.
Kudos to that dad, by the way, for hoofing it up that tree, grabbing that kid, pulling him out of that tree mouth.
And then falling. You can see that, those people fell.
They fell really hard.
So I hope that those were stunt people.
I hope those were dummies.
Because they didn't look like dummies. They looked like stunt people.
But those are some hard falls.
Right.
And then the tree is taken away.
Yeah, by the
tornado.
There's a tornado which missed the house and got on top of them, but only took the tree and not them.
And it was so interesting. They're digging this. So all of this kind of started when they started to dig the swimming pool, and this is the other thing that didn't make sense in the movie. If this company left actual bodies in coffins in the ground, when you're building a house, you have to lay piping and electrical.
Yeah, but it looks like the bodies were really deep. They were hiding.
They're 6 feet deep.
Yeah, no, but the swimming pool, they were deeper, and that was like a 12-foot deep swimming pool, or the hole.
Yeah, or even more, Okay.
So maybe they were 20 feet in. You don't have, for piping, you don't have to go 20 feet in.
In the articles that I read, they said that it was an Indian burial ground. Yeah, but that doesn't make sense because they were in coffins and they were like...
Yeah, they only say that because he, at one point,
He says, but it's not like it's an Indian burial ground.
Yeah, and we already did that with an Indian burial ground. I don't get it, but the bodies in themselves, they didn't look like they were, from an Indian burial ground.
No, they didn't.
Look random bodies.
And they're in coffins. That's not.
Don't they use coffins?
Not in Indian burial rituals.
I don't know what an Indian burial ground is. There are still, Indian.
They don't use Western shiny coffins in Indian burial services.
Okay.
I mean, not.
I mean, if anybody listening is from what is it that they're called?
If anyone is listening is from a Native American tribe and feels that you would like to inform us, my assumption is that is not a normal practice. But I could be 100% wrong.
No, but not the tribe. I'm talking about those places where they go and they have their own police, their own little government.
Yeah.
What is it called?
A reservation.
A reservation. So if you're on a reservation, I guarantee you they have to, they bury people at reservations. You're saying they don't use shiny ass coffins?
No. I don't know what they do now, but I'm assuming that back in the day, like when there were.
Back in the day, 1980s.
Well, it's not like these people were buried in 1980.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I mean, people could be buried.
It probably took them because they were going to start phase 5. 300
acres of a cemetery is a lot of dead people over a long period of time.
Yeah, you're right.
Like that's a long time.
Yeah. And they look like shiny coffins.
Yeah, they look like shiny coffins. So I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I am assuming that if they're in a shiny coffin, that they're not Indian burial ground rituals, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, we could be wrong.
We could be wrong.
If you know, leave a comment down below.
But that didn't make sense to me because of, like, when you have to drill underground, like, I feel like you would find coffins. Like, that's just my assumption.
Yeah, but those were deep coffins, and if you're going to lay piping, it's not going to be further than, 6 feet.
I guess that's true.
Not even 6 feet, like 3 feet. Like the foundation of this house is 6 inches.
Yeah, and then the piping is literally like a foot underneath that, right?
Yeah, and so not even that, because the piping for the drainage is right there between those 6 inches. So you have 6 inches, and in those 6 inches you have our 4-inch pipe.
Oh, I guess that's true. So you wouldn't really contact any of it, even if they were just 6 feet under.
I mean, maybe if you're gonna use city water, which they have to, build the sewage system, but that is just on a main road and all the houses connect to it. Then that is if you're using your city water. If not, you're just using a well, and that is a straight thing that goes down.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So it could happen.
It could happen. So in survival for this, my first thing is leave. Okay. Do you follow 7-minute rule? Obviously, take your children with you. My second thing is, if you're going to investigate your house because you own this house now, you've taken all the kids over, I would get medians. I would trust them.
Yeah, and for some reason, maybe it was a thing in the 80s. I don't know, in the society, that you just don't trust mediums because they laugh at the lady.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. That really wasn't cool. But I loved the how brave the mom is in this.
Yeah.
She just has no fear. She's just ready to go.
Yeah, she's like, this is my babies.
Yeah.
I just want my baby.
They have some really cool shots in this of the spirits coming down the stairs. They have some cool shots of the spirits coming out of the television that are really awesome. And I'm very happy that the dog did not die. What other survival tips would you recommend for this movie?
I mean, she got upset.
Right? She got upset. At the end, she was like ready. She was going to fight him. She didn't care.
She got upset. They left. I mean, a little bit too late, in my opinion. They left a little bit too late. But but while the tree was eating the kid, that's when they took the little girl.
Yes.
So once
they distracted
once
you.
they take the little girl, I mean, if you want to leave, you're gonna have to leave her behind. And that was a cute-looking little girl.
I know.
You can't leave that little girl behind.
You can't leave her.
Right?
So I would.
You can't leave.
No, you can't leave. Well, once that happens, so
wait. Important. You can't leave, but they didn't leave. But at one point, the older sister, she's like, I'm out. And she doesn't even stay in the house.
Right? She's like, I don't want to stay here. I want to stay at Lisa's.
Right? And then her son, which was wild, they just put him in a taxi.
Right?
All by himself. With the dog. And just goodbye.
Goodbye.
Who knows where he went?
He's going to Grandma's.
Right? But, could you trust that taxi driver?
I guess they do.
The 80s were wild. There was no cell phone. So it's like, okay, get on this taxi with this dog. Goodbye. And
we just are going to hope that you make it.
That you make it. That was wild. So they left. They stayed, but then the kids left.
Yeah, the kids left. So that was smart. Good. But I think that they shouldn't have left Carol Ann upstairs when they were trying. But, I mean, they didn't know.
Yeah, but a tree with hands, right?
Just grabbed your son.
And grabbed him and brought him outside and was eating him.
Yeah, I know.
There's no...
There's no
point,
foresight at that point.
Yeah,
there's
no, okay,
no,
wait, where did we leave it?
Maybe we should,
so quick and, random and in the moment.
There's no meeting that you and I would have where we'd be like, okay, so a tree grabs Milo from outside.
Right. I mean, but Milo's a dog. We're going to replace Milo easily.
Oh, my God. What is wrong with you?
We just get another Milo, I want a lady Milo called Milette so we can replace little Milo here.
We're not going to replace Milo. Good Lord.
At some point. It's not the same. It's a dog, It's a tool. Kids aren't tools. Dogs are tools, right?
Oh, sweetie, no.
Yeah. People, if you think your dog is a tool, takes care of the animals, is a barn dog, let us know in the comments down below. If you think I am wrong, let us know in the comments down below.
Please feel free to troll Charlie for this one episode.
Yeah. Because Caitlin, she's in the thing, no, pets are family. They're not family.
They're a little family.
It's just a dog,
He's not just a little puppy. He's a little booby, aren't you?
Anyway.
Right. So, I think that we survived pretty well in this.
Yeah. How about you? Did you survive Poltergeist? I mean, this was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored like with Halloween.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
So be sure to tell us down in the comments, and remember to like this video. There's a little, up
we like the thumbs up.
Yeah, you just like that video. In fact, do it now. Don't wait until later.
Just like it right now.
If you watch this video,
right
there. If you watch the video up till now, you might as well just like the video.
Right?
Anyway.
Hi, balls. Come here.
Get away from me, cat.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. Please remember to be safe, be vigilant, and be the last one standing.
Always.